Have you ever finished cooking rice, looked at that cloudy water in the pot, and just poured it straight down the drain? Most people do. And every single time, they're throwing away something that could be absolute liquid gold for their plants. If your garden soil is tired, if your potted plants just sit there and don't really grow, or if you're trying to garden on a budget without buying bottles of expensive fertilizer, stay with me. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I turned ordinary rice water into powerful liquid gold for my plants in just 24 hours. It's simple, it's cheap, and you probably already have everything you need in your kitchen right now. And I'll also show you how to use it safely so you get stronger, healthier plants without burning roots, causing mold, or attracting pests. Let's get into it. Step number 1. Collect your rice water the right way. You can use water from rinsing rice, or from boiling rice. Both work. I like to start with the rinse water because it's a little cleaner and doesn't have salt or oil in it. So if you normally rinse your rice before cooking, don't dump that first or second rinse. Catch it in a bowl or a pot. If you're using cooking water, make sure you cook your rice in plain water only. No salt, no butter, no oil, no seasonings. Those things are great in the kitchen, but not what we want in the garden. After the rice is done, pour off the extra water into a heat-proof container. Aim for about 2 to 4 cups of rice water to start. That's enough to make a good batch without wasting anything. Step number 2. Let it cool completely. This sounds simple, but it matters. Do not use hot or even very warm rice water on your plants or in this process. Hot water can kill beneficial microbes, and it can damage fine feeder roots if you poured it on directly. So, just set your container on the counter and let it come all the way down to room temperature before you move on. Step number 3. Give the microbes something to chew on. This is where we turn random kitchen water into a little microbe buffet. Once your rice water is cool, I like to add about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of a simple natural sugar. Something like unsulfured molasses, brown sugar, or even a little bit of honey. For a quart, 1 tablespoon is plenty. Stir that in until it's fully dissolved. What this does is give the right kinds of bacteria and fungi an easy energy source to kickstart their growth. Rice starch is food, but this extra sugar just gets that 24-hour transformation moving more reliably. Step number 4. Choose the right container. Use a clean glass jar, a plastic jug, or any food-safe container. Avoid metal for this, and make sure whatever you use has enough headroom. Don't fill it to the very top. Leave at least an inch or 2 of space because, gases are going to be produced as this ferments a bit. Now this part is important. You do not want to screw the lid on super tight. You want the container loosely covered. I'll either set the lid on top without tightening it, or use a piece of cloth or paper towel with a rubber band. The goal is to keep dust and insects out, but still let gases escape. Step number 5. Let it sit for 24 hours in the right place. Put your containers somewhere out of direct sunlight, at room temperature. A pantry, cupboard, or a corner of your kitchen counter is perfect. Over the next 24 hours, a couple of things will happen. After several hours, you may start to see tiny bubbles form along the sides or at the top. That's the sign of mild fermentation. Microbes are waking up and starting to work. By the time you're close to the 24-hour mark, the smell will usually shift. Fresh rice water smells like, rice. After 24 hours, it should have a slightly sour, yeasty, or tangy smell. Not rotten, not like something died, just a mild sourness, similar to thin yogurt, whey, or very light sourdough. If at any point it smells truly foul, like rotten eggs or something really nasty, or you see thick mold growing on the surface, go ahead and toss that batch in your compost and start over. That's rare if you've kept things reasonably clean and only gone 24 hours, but trust your nose. Step number 6. Strain and prepare your concentrate. After 24 hours, give the container a little swirl, then strain the liquid through a fine mesh strainer, or a piece of cloth into another clean container or watering can. This removes any rice particles, sediment, or floaters. What you have now is your rice water concentrate. We are not going to pour this straight onto plants. It's still too strong, and over time, it could lead to problems if you used it undiluted. So we dilute it. Step number 7. Dilute to create safe liquid gold. For most garden uses, I like a ratio of about 1 part rice water concentrate to 3 parts plain water. So if you've got 1 cup of concentrate, add 3 cups of water. If you've got a quart of concentrate, add it to 3 quarts of water. For very delicate plants such as seedlings or houseplants that are a bit fussy, or anything you're nervous about, you can go weaker. 1 part rice water to 4 or even 5 parts plain water. Think of this like a mild tonic, not a heavy fertilizer. Give it a good stir, and now you've got your 24-hour rice water liquid gold ready to use. Let's talk about how and where to use it. First, this shines as a soil drench, not as a foliar spray. I don't recommend spraying this on leaves. The mild sugars and starches can attract pests and can encourage fungal spots on foliage. Instead, aim it right at the soil around the base of your plants. For garden beds, pour the diluted rice water slowly around the root zone of your plants. You don't need to flood the area, just a nice, thorough soak like you would with a normal watering. I like using it on leafy greens, herbs, and general vegetable beds. The soil life in those areas usually responds very well. For containers, this is fantastic for potted plants, especially if you're trying to keep synthetic fertilizers low. Water your pots with the diluted rice water until you see just a bit of excess water starting to drain out the bottom, the same way you'd normally water them. How often should you use it? For most situations, once every 1 to 2 weeks is plenty. You do not want to use this every single day. In winter, or when soil temps are low, microbial activity is naturally slow. I'd rather save this for spring and summer when biology is awake and active. And, I don't use it right on very young emerging seedlings. I'll let them get their first true leaves and establish a bit, then I'll introduce rice water at a weaker dilution. One more tip: I don't store this for long. After I do my 24-hour process and dilute it, I like to use it the same day if possible, or within 24 hours. The longer it sits, the more likely it is to shift in ways we don't want. So, think of this as a make it, then use it kind of input. Now, what kind of results can you expect? Don't expect overnight 8-foot tomato plants from one watering. This is more like a steady, gentle support system. Over a few weeks of using rice water every 1 to 2 weeks, you'll often notice slightly lusher foliage on leafy plants, better overall color, not that pale, tired green, and improved soil smell and feel. Crumbly, earthy, not sour or compacted. What I like most is that this fits perfectly into an organic, low-waste mindset. You're taking something that used to go straight down the drain and instead turning it into a tool to feed your soil and your plants. If you're already making compost, brewing compost teas, or using other homemade fertilizers, rice water fits right in. Think of it as one more gentle, microbial-friendly input you can rotate through your garden routine. Alright, now if you found this helpful and you like turning everyday waste into powerful garden boosters, please give us a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got a whole series of videos where I do exactly that. Coffee grounds, kitchen scraps, wood chips, even garden weeds, all turned into plant power in just a few days. Thanks for joining me out in the garden today. If you try this rice water method, let me know in the comments how it works in your beds or containers, and what plants seem to love it the most. Now, let's go turn a few more everyday problems into garden solutions.